What's up, YouTube? Just want to give you guys an update on the cars and maybe show you the suspension on the Chevy. Had a few people message me on YouTube asking about it, what I'd done in particular to the rear based on the last video I posted. So here we are underneath the Chevy. So you can see I've got a trailing arm setup installed here. This is from a Land Rover is what the arms are from. They've got big old bushings front and rear to allow the axle to articulate. And you can see I've got these adjustable plates I welded on here. Let me get you a better shot of the front here. So I've got these plates on the outside. You can see the exhaust has a little bracket there that's welded to it. And then on the inside, I don't know if you guys can see that okay, this fully enclosed pocket here has a bolt that runs through to this side here where it pinches that trailing arm. And so what I did was I added a support plate here, and these are kind of mirror images of each other, and so they bolt through the thick part of the frame here. And then on these holes, I drilled out a hole here, welded a sleeve in there, and so these two halves pinch together. And that makes it really strong. A lot of people on these 49 to 54 Chevy frames weld straight to this. And if you can see here, you see how thin that top layer is? That's what they're welding to for their structural suspension component. I never felt comfortable with that. And so it took me a while to come around to coming up with something that was a little bit more robust. So it's not only utilizing the bottom part of this frame here, it's also pinching through in 4 points. And then it's got, I believe I have 4 bolts on each side. I was gonna do it under a plate on the bottom side, but I think this is overbuilt as it is. This is all 3/16 construction. Let me show you the rear here, get a better view. All right, so this is the best view I think I'm gonna get. So you can see, I've got Ride Tech coilovers adjustable. They're on their fully soft setting there, which is just right. I've got a cross tube that I had welded in there originally for shock mounts, and you can see the holes there that I had used for my leaf spring setup with shock mounts. I was really unhappy with the leafs on this car. It really drove that pinion right up into the driveline, or up into the body. And I really didn't want to put ladder bars on it because the ground clearance already was really poor. And I think ladder bars, or traction bars, would have just been a bad situation. So I've got a panhard bar here. It's got Johnny joints. All of this here, let's see, yeah, I'm really not giving you guys a good view, am I? All of this here is triangulated and gusseted and braced. This here, you can see some of my axle fluid has been seeping out, my gear oil. This is left and right hand thread, so this is all adjustable. You just grab it with a pipe wrench. These here, so if you don't know, coilovers have what's called preload adjustment, and a lot of people mistake this for ride height adjustment. And so I built 3 inches of adjustment into these brackets that bolt the coilover to the axle. And so this will keep your preload the same and ideally keep your ride the same, but you can adjust your ride height independent. Now granted, that will change your instant center, but you know, with a car like this, I've found that even that those 3 inches of adjustment, which pretty dramatically changed the angle of the trailing arm,
they really don't affect your ride as much as you would think. I think that, you know, if you're road racing, you're gonna notice it, but I'm just cruising this thing and enjoying some fun twisties, and I still have fun with it. It was a little bit better here. This is what I designed the setup for the Panhard to sit flat and everything to ride in the highest ride height location, but I just, once I lowered it, I couldn't help myself. It had to stay low. So yeah, anyway, that's how it is. I'm not super stoked on the exhaust. I think at some point I'm gonna redo that. You can see I had to, because this is an Explorer rear end, it's got an offset pinion, I had to retunnel the driveline. It was pretty ugly. I'm not very proud of that work, but it's covered up with a seat. I don't really care. It's solid. It's not gonna go anywhere. Anyway, I wanted to show you guys this. I might go show you the front end. It's not as exciting. It's just a Mustang too, but I'll show it to you.
Okay, before I show you the front end, I got to show you this. So I built a subwoofer box. Me and my dad, we built a subwoofer box and coated it with some Flex Seal. Keep it dry in the trunk just in case the trunk decides to leak, which it hasn't really been leaking. I've actually had more leaks come up through the floor. So I had to peel all of this sound deadening that you saw in my walk around video. I had to peel all that up and seam seal the crap out of everything. So that's kind of a tricky thing. One of the things that was kind of cool was found these old Pepsi, like Coke, or I guess bottle holders or whatever they used to deliver back in the day. And so I figured, oh, you know, that'd be a really nice way to hide my amplifier. So got all the wiring going in through a handle on the side here. You can kind of see down in there, I've got the amplifier and the equalizer all hidden up in there, which brings me to the realization I haven't shown you my stereo that I made. So why don't I show you that real quick, and then we can look at the front end. All right, so you can see since last video, I got the speaker grill in there, and got my stereo all hooked up, and I've got the accessory on. This top button here, this behind here is a Bluetooth board from a little Bluetooth speaker I had that I used to run on my Falcon. And so this top button here I pressed already, and that turns the Bluetooth board on. And I'm gonna try to use my girlfriend's phone here to play some music. So, all right, so it's connected. Let's see, does she have like YouTube on here? I don't even know. Let's see. YouTube. All right, what do you guys want to listen to? How about some funk? Let's listen to some Zapp and Roger. How about that? Yeah, more bounce to the ounce. All right. Yeah, let's hit that there. Okay. Okay, so it's starting to play. What I've got here, this here is a switch to turn the amps on. This here is a remote volume adjustment, so I can, it's kind of one of those like bass knobs that you can buy. I've got that hooked up to the equalizer input, and then the equalizer is all set up in the back. This here pauses the music, this skips songs, which I don't use a lot because I listen to a lot of YouTube. I don't listen to Pandora much, but it's kind of nice. The only thing I caution y'all about, if you're going to try this, is you'll hear it here in a second, but when you're amplifying the output directly from like an audio board like this, it can cause some weird sound things. So this audio board, anytime you don't have music playing, it will turn all sound output off, and that's to conserve battery because it originally had a battery. Well, this now is hooked to the car battery, so that doesn't matter anymore, but it still has it programmed in the board. So you can hear here, I'm gonna pause it, and you're gonna hear it pop. Hear that little pop? When you're playing music, that's pretty annoying, and it can be pretty loud at the louder volumes. So anyway, this is all 3D printed, by the way, so painted, 3D printed, sanded, all that stuff. It's kind of neat. It's a nice way to keep like the original look and not have one of those, you know, remote mounted anything, which I kind of like. I always thought that was weird. You know, you see Hot Rod and you know, nice, cool old stereo. Even though they like celebrate the original, you still have to play all your audio through something new. I don't know. I feel like it's cooler to have something that works. You know, hindsight, maybe I should have kept the old AM stuff and not created a bumping system, but I kind of like it. It's fun to drive. So anyway, that's that. Let's check out the front end.
All right, so this is your kind of typical Mustang 2 setup. It's a manual rack setup, which these cars almost have to have, I guess. It depends on your crossmember setup. The Fat Man setups move this crossmember up a little bit and you can get better clearance for your steering output shaft, but these ones that are kind of a standard ride height, they don't have that. So you can't really fit the power steering booster on the Mustang 2 rack there. It handles way better than it should. If you guys have been watching Garage Night at all or listening to the podcast that Randy, Andy, and myself all are a part of, which I recommend you check out on Apple Podcasts. A little plug, we don't make any money, we're just having a good time. We like to share our car love with other people, so if you get a chance, check it out. But anyway, as they can attest to, this car handles way better than it has any right to, even on these big old fat wheels. So you notice no sway bar. I had one on here and it didn't need it. It actually was a little too stiff and transferred a little too much of the roll into the tire. And so with a little bit more weight transfer, I felt like this handles better without the sway bar. So you can see the sway bar mounts right here, and I had it mounted up here. You can see on the front of the frame, a couple little rust holes. We're not gonna pay attention to that. It's fine.
Anyway, not the most exciting, but let me pop the hood, give you guys one more look. Just a whole run over of the car. Why not?
All right, so not much has changed up here. Actually, I don't think anything has changed. The manifold bolts like to back out. This car's been incredibly reliable. Like one of my best, I'd say, next to maybe the Falcon. So I had an issue a while ago with a heater that I'd bought. This dude on Craigslist, he did a great job on it. It wasn't his fault that this failed, but I was doing a burnout in Mexico, and the heater core erupted, and I am not educated in soldering copper, and neither is anyone that I know. So what I did, which is maybe a little janky, but I relocated the heater inlet pipes from the factory location, which would have been here, and I think right there, if you can see it, and I relocated them over here, but I kept the same unit. What I did was I took a 60s Ford, like Fairlane heater core, and I rotated inside of the stock housing, and you can't even tell. I just kind of changed the interface there. So still looks all factory, and it's got the recirculating heater, but no longer does it have the kind of bespoke custom copper pipes soldered onto it. One other thing, don't mind the visor and the Summit Racing parts. Got a rear seat, which is pretty cool. This came out of Ohio. No one seemed to have a Styleline rear seat, and I was stupid and threw mine away when I first got the car because it was full of rats and nastiness. And don't ever do that. If you're building one of these, do not throw away your stuff. That Summit box has a governor kit, transmission shifting a little goofy, had it rebuilt last year. Talking to the dude that rebuilt it, he was gonna do it today. I haven't heard from him. Gonna just swap out the governor springs or the weights on it. If he doesn't do it, if I don't hear back from him, I'll just do it myself. But I figured I got a 2-year warranty on it, why not? So let's see if he comes through. But he's a pretty good dude. I like him, and I think he's probably just battling this thing that everyone else is battling in quarantine right now. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the Chevy.